What shocking happened when President Trump introduces Barron Trump? He knew the youth vote. The room was filled with anticipation as President Donald Trump stepped to the stage, with the crowd eager to hear what was about to unfold. But today was no ordinary speech. It was a moment that would forever change the way people saw Barron Trump, the son of the president. The crowd waited in silence, wondering what was next. But when President Trump began to speak, they were stunned. He knew the youth vote. President Trump declared with a proud smile, turning to look at his son, Barron. While most people were focused on the older generation, Barron saw something that no one else did. He understood what young people wanted. He understood their struggles, their hopes, and their dreams. He knew how to connect with them. Barron saw what others missed, President Trump said. He saw that the youth vote wasn't just something to take for granted. It was something to invest in, something to understand. Barron, with a quiet smile, continued, "It's time to start listening to what the youth want. They don't want to hear politicians making promises they won't keep. They want to know what you're going to do to make their lives better. They want leaders who will fight for them." As the applause slowly subsided, Barron remained calm and composed. He wasn't basking in the spotlight. Instead, he was reflecting on what had just transpired. He understood that this was just the beginning. But what stood out to him was the overwhelming response from the crowd, especially the young faces who looked up at him with a new sense of hope. It was then that Barron's father, President Trump, leaned in and spoke softly to him. "You've got it, son. You know how to reach them. You know what they need." Barron simply nodded, his gaze focused on the crowd. There was something profound about that moment, the realization that the youth of America, the ones who had once felt disconnected from the political process, were now looking to him for guidance. Barron knew that this responsibility wasn't one he could take lightly. For a few moments, Barron reflected on the long road that had led him here. Growing up in the public eye, with all the pressures and challenges that came with it, Barron had always remained a quiet observer. He was often seen as the silent Trump child, away from the media's glare. But as he matured, he began to realize that the future of this country rested in the hands of people like him, young people who could bridge the gap between the old and the new, between the past and the future. "I've always believed in the power of people," Barron said, picking up the conversation again. "But the youth, they're the ones who have the power to make real change. They just need to know that someone is listening to them. That's why I'm here today. I want to be that voice." The crowd was silent, hanging on every word. Barron's honesty and emotional connection to his message left them with a sense of optimism that they hadn't felt in a long time. The barriers that typically separated the political elite from the common people, especially the younger generation, were beginning to fade. "I know things aren't perfect, but we can do better," Barron continued, his voice growing stronger with every word. "We can work together to build a future where everyone's voice matters, where everyone's dreams can come true. And it starts with listening, understanding, and acting." The air was thick with emotion. Barron wasn't just talking about policies or politics. He was talking about hope, about fighting for something bigger than himself. He was talking about a future where young people no longer felt unheard or forgotten. And it was clear in that moment that he was ready to take that fight on. President Trump stood beside his son, proud of the young man he had become. He knew that Barron wasn't just ready to follow in his footsteps, he was ready to lead in his own way. And as Barron concluded his speech, it was clear to everyone in that room that Barron Trump was more than just the son of a former president. He was a symbol of the future, a future that would be shaped by the next generation. The applause that followed was deafening, a roar of appreciation for the young man who had just captivated everyone in the room. Barron had done something truly remarkable. He had inspired a generation. And as he looked out at the sea of faces, he knew this was just the beginning. Barron Trump had found his voice, and the world was finally listening.